Hey, 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 welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. You know the deal. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel, I like to look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes along with everything else. Because a lot of times it's not about what your person feels about you. We already know that. It's why does it look the way that it does? Why do I keep attracting the same type of people into my life that happen to do the same things? Will I ever meet somebody that vibrates on my vibrational level and such? So these readings answer those questions as well, because like I said, we already know what our person did do. And a lot of times we get stuck in what they did do. We find that we ruminate on what a person does to us that we care about. Like, we'll keep on, it'll go over and over in our head, and we feel like we can't shut it off. And it's funny, I'm kind of feeling like that was you for a really long time, Scorpio. And now it's not that you don't, but I feel like the other person is doing it, the person that you're connected to, but you're so connected to this person, you feel like it's you. Like, it's like if you tap into your person, all of a sudden you'll feel mad and you'll start to ruminate on what they did, is what I'm feeling. But so again, Spirit always tells me a little nidbit right in the beginning of the video. We'll see how it ties in. Now, again, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. I want to do two shout outs. One, to which I should have had them on, but I'm not wearing them today. That's because I'm really not feeling well. I have an upper respiratory infection. So I'm on a lot of medication right now, but that makes me really sensitive, and the readings tend to come out really well. But was Otter Spirit, it's like they sent me these beautiful bracelets. Um, they're really great quality. And this is the grief packet, but they have a lot of different packets. They come in three, and they're really reasonably priced, being the quality of the crystals. And what's great about wearing crystals is they align your energy to the energy that you need. So again, I just lost my husband a few months ago, so they sent me the grief packet. And what's great about the company, and why I will be buying one other set from them, and that's the green set. It's the abundance set, and it's all these different green stones, so pretty. But why I like this company is because they donate $1 to the otters in California, because they were almost extinct. So again, that's why it's called Otter Spirit. And like I said, they're really good quality. I believe in anything that gives back, especially to animals. Like, a lot of our animals are already extinct or close to being extinct. So any company that works towards, saving the planet, I'm all for. So I wanted to give them a shout out. And I also wanted to mention I'm launching my coaching program. So anyone that needs shadow healing, wants to develop their psychic abilities, wants to learn mediumship, wants to, again, be a healer, because you'll also be able to get certified within my system, because I came out with the system. Do I even have my cards here? I'm so disorganized today. Came out with my psychic soul healer deck, and I will be certifying people and my system on in my program. And you see these cards, they're so pretty. So anyway, I'm only going to have it open for 10 days. I'm only taking a selected few. It's not like I'm going to be doing hundreds of people at a time. I'm not, because I want to be able to help people individually, especially when they have trauma, a lot of trauma. I want to teach them how to heal the effects of their trauma. You can heal your life. You can change your life. I know my mother tried to kill me several times. My father had cancer 8 times. In my house, I grew up where it was every man for themselves, and I had every negative behaviorism that you could imagine. They said I'd never make it out of high school. I couldn't stay present long enough. I couldn't get life insurance when I was 20 years old when I had my son because I had debilitating asthma so bad and kidney stones and just couldn't get out of my own way. And that's what happens when you're brought up in an environment where you're told every day that there's something wrong with you. Healing the effects of psychological trauma is imperative. Understand all trauma, healing the effects of all trauma, but we deal on a daily basis with people that are affected by psychological trauma. Psychological trauma is not just your thoughts, but your emotions, right? So when people have severe trauma, they're usually not emotionally intelligent. So they can't read people. And the irony is they're very sensitive. It's just when you're reading a person and you're not healed, what you're reading is distorted. You're not, it's like looking in a funhouse mirror. You're not seeing what's accurate. You're seeing things that are distorted. And then what happens is that we build our behaviorisms and our habits on those core beliefs. So in order to actually break karmic cycles so you can live a happy life, you have to heal. There's no way around it. So again, I'm going to obviously have a lot of different classes, but each class will not have a lot of people because, like I said, in healing, it's not just healing the mind, it's healing the body, it's healing the nervous system, it's healing behaviorisms, and that takes time. And that's what these readings are about too. Without integrating the spiritual lesson, it means you don't learn, you don't get to see yourself different. And you have to transmute negative energy. You can't just go through an experience and see yourself differently and think that that's enough. No, you've accumulated negative energy, and that energy doesn't dissipate until you do something with it. It's also creative energy. It's how we get to see the situation differently. When we get to see trauma transmuted, we get to see it as our creative genius because it's a part of ourself that was blocked, right? Our blockages are parts of ourselves that we have detached from, that we have dissociated from. So again, now is the time to sign up for my coaching program. I'm really excited. The link will be in the description box to get to the people that I'm working with that do all the organization because I don't my business sense really. I'm the creator. And that's the thing when you get good at your path, on your path and whatever it is that you're here to do, you're able to then hire people to do the things that you're not good at. And that's what it's about. It's about being able to connect to people and bringing out the best in everyone is what's best for everyone involved. That's the language of the universe. So when you're in alignment, you're actually in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature, and the laws of the universe. They're all the same thing. And you have the universe inside of you. So you have to be in alignment. That's when your feet are on the ground and you're listening to your gut, your intuition, your inner knowing, and you're giving and receiving of love, and you're being able to see opportunities and get that clear cognizance, which is that knowing, which is, I don't know how I know, I just know. And that is a co-creation process. That's when you're living your bliss. So my coaching program helps people live their bliss, get out of survival mind and get into the creative magical mind, supernatural mind, because that's what you are. You're a supernatural being because part of you is made up of the deity. And the deity is the God part of ourself, that supernatural part of ourself, which allows us to transcend the limitations of our ego. So Again, now's the time. The link will be in the description box below, as well as all other important links. All right, guys, let's jump in and let's see what the word of the video is. The word of the video is knowing. Knowing and wisdom. Well, as we can see in the back of this card, we see sacred geometry, and that is the language of the universe. And so when we're talking about this knowledge and wisdom, we're talking about the higher wisdom. We're talking about that claircognizance, that knowing. It's divine guidance. Only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. And I'm feeling like someone, not you, Scorpio, but the person you're connected to is like had an epiphany, had an epiphany about not just you, but their life. It's almost like this person either went through, like they got very sick and wound up in the hospital. They they went through a real dark night of the soul, and it was like their health got affected by it, their job connections, even friendships that they had their entire life just ended. It's like they went through a complete tower moment that brought them to a dark night of the soul. But during this dark night of the soul, they had an epiphany, and that epiphany, you were inside that epiphany, where I'm feeling like before this epiphany, this person didn't think about you. It's like, it's not that they didn't think about you, they were purposely trying not to think about you. And it was because they were completely in their ego. They were seeing things through their distorted perception. And that's because they have trauma that they haven't healed. So I feel like you said something and they took it the wrong way. Almost, this person's used to being with very pushy and demanding people. And it's because they never make a decision. And so the thing is, they don't like relationships because they wind up with people that tell them what to do, that take all their energy, want to, again, not just live their own life, but they want them to, be codependent. They want to form attachments. And that's really what it is. It's this person doesn't want to form attachments. They always wind up with people, though, that have attachments. And you say, well, then they do. They're codependent. They don't realize that that's what they're doing. So they have an issue. And that issue is that I want to be in a relationship, but every relationship turns out like that. So I don't want to be in a relationship. So they're holding on to a cognitive dissonance. Then here you come along and they are attracted to you. And I feel like they got overstimulated. And in their overstimulation, that makes a person not as grounded, right? Because they're overstimulated, you're more up in your head. And you said something and they took it the wrong way and it triggered them and they walked away from you. They never looked back. It was almost like, I don't want to say they never looked back, but that's what they wanted you to believe. And they were serious about it. Like they were really trying to walk away, I should say. So this is the underlining energy. And that's a little bit of the story of what had happened, because you're like, I don't know. All I know is that I offered to go out to dinner. I offered to go to do something because they were continuously hinting, and I wanted to know where the relationship was going. And so I offered to go to dinner, or I offered to meet them. I offered some, and like as a friend, not even as a relationship. And this person just, I never heard, like they flew from my life when everything was good prior. So we're going to see what happened. I don't want to say that everything was good. I just feel like this person, for the most part, things were good. They just happen to be very avoidant. I act like I don't care when deep down I really do. We know that. That's what I'm saying. This person walked away and they really wanted you to believe it. And now they still are doing it though. I feel like I can be my true self around you. I think that that's the epiphany. The epiphany was that you already had great camaraderie. This person didn't want to look at you as a person. They wanted to look at you almost like a thing, like a pretty thing that they could put you in and out of a box, even if you were a guy, like someone that was just theirs, that no one knew about, and that it's like when I want to play with you, I'm going to take you out of the box because they do have a very strong connection and they feel like they can be soft. I run away to avoid facing problems, and that's what they did. It's like, I feel like the epiphany is that, again, you felt like home. I wish I could fix things between us, but they don't really know how to fix things between. I feel like this person gave you a lot of mixed messages. A lot of mixed messages. Is again, yeah, they were inconsistent. That's what I felt. I felt like, and it's because the true self wanted you. That's the divine part of self. The divine part of self noticed you. Again, this card of wisdom, I don't know where it went. There it is. This card of wisdom is all about a divine connection. We know that because of the sacred geometry. It's a knowing. That's what the knowledge is. It's like I don't know how I know. But the ego part of self, like Ken was like, I don't really want to uh be vulnerable. I don't really want to let you in. I don't really know if I want a relationship. So they were fighting it. And so what it did is it made you feel like forgotten about, like your feelings didn't matter, that you were invisible. And this person kind of wanted you to feel that way sometimes. Sometimes I don't feel like they wanted you to feel that way all the time, but they wanted I feel like they wanted you to like that it was whatever their mood was, right? If they were really wanted to see you because they missed you, they would be really nice. And then other times they would act like they didn't care. And then what you felt like is because they couldn't be consistent, and then you tried to have a conversation with them and you're trying to like figure out whether you're on the same page, this person began to get very manipulative, where they wouldn't tell you what was real and what wasn't. And that's really what it was. It's like they would leave pieces of their story out. They would just like I said, make you not feel comfortable, but they were manipulating you because, again, they wanted you in their life, but they kind of wanted you without the obligation, without the commitment, without because again, this person only sees relationships as work. They wind up with people that really have no identity. So, in the fact that they don't have any identity, after the passion part of the relationship, which always happens way too soon, this person, like, there's nothing left, there's no glue. So, this person gets very bored. And then what winds up happening is, you know, the people are that, just gave of themselves, they are expecting a relationship. So then this person feels bad because they don't have a good self-esteem, and then they go along with it. And in order to go along with it, they lie and they manipulate, and then the relationship turns toxic because no one wants to be in a relationship where they're being manipulated. So this didn't happen with you. This is how this person views relationships, and now they have these feelings towards you, which actually creates a lot of overstimulation for them, where again thinking too much, and that happens because they care. See, if they didn't care, they wouldn't get overstimulated, they wouldn't have to try and act like they didn't like you, and they wouldn't be manipulating you. What we see here is, I want things my way, but you would never agree to that. You would never agree. So I'm trying to strategize, I'm trying to figure out a way, but they don't realize that the focus actually is on not having it work. Their focus is on fear because they're saying, I have to do all this manipulation in order to get what I want because I don't really feel like I can have what I want. So the focus is, I don't really feel like I can have what I want, and they don't realize that. It's like, and I feel like because their focus was on their fear, there was a lot of self-sabotaging behaviorisms because they were overstimulated. It's not like they were thinking. Remember, only in the now do we get divine guidance. And that's when we're coming from our heart. That's when we're coming from our gut. When we're strategizing, a lot of times we're lying. We're trying to figure out something. We might be in the logical, analytical mind trying to figure out a math problem or something, or what we're or trying to recall certain information, but not when we're building an emotional connection. So this person is not emotionally intelligent either, and they get overstimulated, then they can't read you properly because they're again reading through the wounds that they have, and then their actions and behaviorisms are all coming from a place of fear. So we're just going to see a lot of sabotaging energy where like this person's inner child needs help. It's like it needs a lot of healing. And if they have children, well, then they hide behind their children. But it's because they have inner child wounds that need to be healed. So they've been walking around with these wounds for a long time, is what Spirit is saying that, if we have inner child wounds and we don't heal them because we don't integrate them, then every single relationship we're bringing our baggage into that relationship, and the baggage is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So instead of only having one garbage bag, we have 100 garbage bags that we're bringing into the relationship. And that is why this person tends to form attachments because they have a lot of baggage that they, haven't healed. And so they don't trust themselves, and they don't trust themselves because they get overstimulated. And when they get overstimulated, when they care about something is when they get overstimulated. So they tend to take on the role of being a savior, right? To be a fixer. They go for people that they feel are not really on a high vibration, people that they feel like they can come in and fix. Like they're always on a rescue mission. Now, the part of that is because I feel that they grew up in that environment where, again, it was a toxic environment. When we have inner child wounds that are this bad, it's because we grew up in an environment that we saw our parents have an attachment type relationship where one person had all the power and the other person doesn't. And the other person that doesn't just goes along with everything and is the fixer. They're the healer. But they don't have a good self-esteem. They have a low self-esteem in order to stay in that type of connection. So they're actually mirroring what they grew up in, and it's familiar energy. They don't like it. They don't realize that that's what they're doing. They don't like it. So when here it is, they meet you, I feel like they see you, they like on a high vibration. They know that you don't need them for anything. And that is scary for them. You don't need them. See, they need to be needed. They need because they feel like that's how they got their love. So if you don't need anything, then you're going to be better than them. And then, you're not going to stay with them. It always goes back to abandonment, which, by the way, when people have self-sabotaging behaviorisms where they continually get in their own way and they block themselves off from love, it's because they feel that they can't have love. Overstimulation is too much thought, too much emotion. So again, I want that love. I want that connection, but I don't know how to get to it. It's almost like here's a math test. In order to get to college or to get to the next level of life, you got to pass a test. a lot of us would go into overstimulation. I don't know who am I sitting next to? Like I need the answer from somebody. I can't trust myself. Well, it's the same thing with this person when it comes to relationships. So, we all have spiritual blocks, but this is how it plays out in a relationship. And what we see is not very of a high vibration because their character is not in alignment with unconditional love, the laws of God. They're more in alignment with their wounds, fear. So you always felt like, well, it's like they never really wanted to be with me. Felt like they were always in search for something else. Well, it's this person doesn't feel safe. So it's not like they're always in search for somebody else. However, they will, if you make things too easy, then the grass is always greener on the other side. But that's because they don't believe that they can really have what they want. So the search is the fact that this person doesn't realize that the answer is inside of us. That when we look for things outside of ourselves to be whole and to be complete, then what happens is that those things fall short. Those things wind up betraying us. Those things wind up hurting us. We wind up doing what we searched for that person to do for us. And then a lot of times that person sabotages us because again, the law of God, the law of love, nature, whatever, you have to come from a place of love. So if you're doing something because you believe that you have to acquire something else, most likely you were able to acquire whatever you needed on your own because you wound up getting it on your own because the universe won't bring you someone to do it. Oh, they'll bring you somebody to help you, but they won't bring anyone to do it for you. And so again, it's like this person never gets out of that situation. It's just one big karmic loop after another. Like they get out of one karmic loop to get into another karmic loop, to get into another karmic loop. And I feel like they were in a very toxic karmic bond relationship for a long time, and then they're not in that relationship at all. But that's why here you come along and they're okay, they're lonely, but to be in a relationship is scary. So you'll think like, well, this person won't let me in. It's like they're too overstimulated to let you in. They can only let you in little by little. So again, and that makes you feel very constrained, like you want me to like give up my power because at one time you were made to give up your power because you wind up in attachment relationships. Well, this person's trauma is that's what they remember. So that's what it would be. You would have to give up too much of your power to be with them. But they come in like a savior. And that's the irony of like a toxic, codependent, trauma bond relationship. A lot of times we're the ones that come in to be the fixer. And then what winds up happening is it's like you don't want, no one wants to be the fixer. Okay, no one wants to be the fixer, and no one really wants to be, everyone wants to be in a healthy relationship. That's on some level. However, what feels comfortable to this person, I should say, is for them to come in as the fixer. But once they're the fixer, they don't really want to be that fixer anymore. They went in as the fixer because their self-esteem was not where it should be. And then people again make them into what they want them to be because, hey, you came in as the fixer. You were so codependent. So you gave everything. No, this person again has their blocks, and that's why they do it. So it always winds up in a very toxic relationship. So again, they still feel like connection to you, and they also know that they hurt you, and they also have so many feelings, and like just you trigger a lot of feelings, and part of that is I feel like part of it is connected to their healing. And another part is just on the physical realm, I'm attracted to you. So what this says is being mirrors for each other really makes self-love important. I wish I was there to love you. But if I'm not, I want you to love and nurture yourself, because what this person knows is that you're angry with yourself for giving them the time. And they're like, no, I still have feelings for you. But it's almost like they're trying to figure out how to handle this connection, and they don't know how to come back after what they did. They're not emotionally intelligent. They don't know how to be transparent. They would rather like put the mask on and be like the party person and surface. So it's like they, being that they have a connection to you, they're like, it scares them too when they tap into you and they feel like you're like, I'm disgusted. I never want to feel that way ever again. They can feel it. And that's why they're like, I want you to love yourself, because they're like, you're never going to want to be with me. These feelings overwhelm me and I become afraid. Sometimes I run away from you because of it. And that's what they did. And that's what I'm telling you. That's why you're like, I'm disgusted. It's like because you give too many mixed messages. You're in, you're out. It's like you leave pieces of your story out. You always feel like you're being manipulated. This person projects how they feel about themselves onto you, as if you're doing that. We need to wait for divine timing. Time is healing our wounds and creating the perfect condition for our reunion. So this person like is in separation from you right now, and they feel that this is a divine connection because they've tried to walk away from you a lot of times. I feel like, being that this is really triggering you the way that it is, I do feel like this is like a kind of like a soulmate twin flame relationship. And because it's bringing to the surface everything for you to look at. And remember, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. So you may say, well, I'm not that insecure. You may not be that insecure. But if you were connected to this person, waiting for them to be different, Spirit says on one level, something in your life wasn't working, because you wouldn't have stuck around. You would say, I'm worth more than that. I don't care what this person is showing. So it brought up stuff for you too. And that is why both of you are kind of mirroring each other, because this person is very triggered by you. You're very triggered by this person, but there's also a lot of passion and there's a connection. So I feel like it is a divine connection. Now, twin flame soulmate is a really hard relationship. It's not for the like, it's not for the weak. You know, people tend to be like, oh, they romanticize it. Yeah, there's a lot of hot passion, but a relationship isn't just hot passion. There's hot passion to help transmute those blocks, to pierce those blocks, those inner child wounds. And that's, if this is your soulmate twin flame, which if the divine time, that's what it would be. It means that the divine has their hand in this situation. And they do, because this person needs healing, but you do too. And so Spirit's saying, yeah, this person is fighting their ego, but eventually I win, Spirit says, because I'm love and I always win. You know, like I'll wait, you know, that you'll fight, you'll think that you still have control, but you don't have control. The universe says you only have control over how you deal with the situation, but you don't have any control over who I bring into your life and how your feelings are. You know, not your true self. Your true self is the higher self, and the higher self is that God part of self. So even if you pretend that you don't know, you do know. Your subconscious knows, because that's where I am, but you're fighting it. So understand, this person's fighting the connection. one of us is sad or angry, and it's creating an energetic match and frequency with the other. And that's what I was saying. Like, you guys are so connected that it's like, and they're like, I know that you're angry. I know that you're angry. I can feel it. I can feel that you're angry. And it's like, trying to figure things out. And I feel like this person must have just gotten out of that relationship, that trauma bond relationship, where they were just not really ready to be in a relationship. Again, they were kind of enjoying their life when, again, here you come into their life. So it's like they're working through things. I don't even feel like there's anyone else here. You are my true love, my heart and my soul. Like, this person's like, I can't resist. And that's, again, the passion of the soulmate twin flame relationship. But it doesn't mean that it's an easy relationship. It's not an easy relationship. This person's going to trigger the shit out of you. Why? Because your soulmate twin flame, that's what they came into your life to do, to pull out all the trauma for you to look at so you can work through it. And the passion that that twin has for you and you for them, that you can't deny, that this person can't deny. You can just say that person's fucked up, you hate them, but you cannot deny that there's passion. Well, it's that passion that transmutes those blocks, that helps you transmute those blocks. It's through unconditional love. And that fact that you're holding space for somebody that, if they really did treat you like this, which was kind of crappy, well, you can forgive, even if you don't want to, because of this energy. Like, this person can't really truly walk away, even though they have a huge ego. They can't deny it. And that's because, again, the divine is the one that's conducting this connection for the greater good of everyone involved. Substances. So what this person does, though, is that they run away, and they use substances so that they don't have to feel. And so you're like, your unhealthy choices like have affected like our connection, because you're not taking the time to really get to know me. You're not really here. If you are actually even here, you're not, it's a way that you don't have to get to know me, that you don't have to build that emotional connection to me, that you don't have to feel. So you don't reflect on your own on your own behaviorisms. Well, I feel like this person got sick because they drank so much, or they were doing something so much that they actually got sick. So they can't really do those anymore. But when you were together, that's what it was. Because like I said, I feel like this person is like going through like that, everything in their life that wasn't working. There was a tower moment, and their health was part of that. So that's why they had this epiphany again, because they went through the dark night of the soul. But understand, it didn't mean that they volunteered, but the universe had to get involved. Spirit, divine timing, and part of that, spirit was like, before like we can actually get to our destination, this person has to stop it with this. They didn't volunteer to stop. And dishonesty, you're like, it's like, and I don't know how I'm going to get over, like, you know, the trust. It's like, now I have trust issues because of how they acted. So the spirit saying, it's again where you're like, that you don't trust them. And then on top of it, sometimes you felt like, because you would ask and you want them to make you feel emotionally safe, you would get judged for it. So you're like, I can't even really have a conversation with this person because they have that avoidant style. And where again, they would either do substances, be dishonest, or again, when I would say something, avoid it, where again, just deflect, making it like there was something wrong with me because that's what I needed from them. where, like I said, I feel like those were your triggers and those are your continuing triggers with this person, the things that you would have to work work out. And we're going to see whether or not what's going to happen. Is that behavior going to change? Yeah, it actually is. They're going to fix it. They're going to fix it, okay? They're going to fix how, like, what they did. This is a Joker card that shouldn't even be in there. Um, and it's going to be like when this person's going to come to you like soon. I would say that when the new moon, they say when the new moon in the or in the spring. I don't want to say the spring because it's like I'd say between 1 and 3 months. If it's because we're out of spring now and I'm being told soon. So 1 to 3 months. So I think that they started to think about this in the spring, which was what, like just a few months ago. So they should be coming to you really soon. Actually, summer was over, summer's 3 months. So I feel like they would been thinking about this for about 4 months. So Spirit's saying from now until until they come back. It started in spring. They started to think about it, but for now it's between 1 and 3 months that this person, you will hear from them. They will come back into your life. I feel like they went through that dark night of the soul and that epiphany during the springtime. They just, have been fighting with themselves to like come back. Yeah, because of again the passion. Like it's the chemistry. Yeah, that it's like, and like it's on time. It's like there's a sense of them, they don't want you to move on. So they're gonna move quick, and they're gonna move quick because of that passion. Like I said, they don't want you to move on. They know that you're on your soul's path. They've been like steadily coming to you, like taking it. They haven't been rushing to come to you. But part of that is because they're working through their own stuff. So they are planning on coming to you even though, you did that, and are planning on fixing the way that they were. Like they have the tools to treat you better. They have the tools to heal, is what Spirit is saying. It's like they have everything that they need to, to heal because they went through this like dark night of the soul. They went through this tower moment. So what wasn't working in their life and the people that were in their life that weren't really their best interest, they saw they didn't have a choice because everything like fell apart within this person's life. And that's because, they were living more from their ego. We could tell by the way that they have, their relationships and the way that they couldn't possibly have a good life coming from a place of like how they built relationships, and it's because of how they felt about themselves, so they couldn't have a good life. But I feel like they had done work on themselves, maybe like through like business or nothing like spiritual work, but did work on themselves as created themselves. They went to school, they did things where they expanded their mind. However, they kept getting in relationships with people that would stagnate their growth to the point that they were like, I'm not going to be in a relationship anymore because I don't want that type of relationship. I'll be in a relationship where I can have everything on my term. That shit just didn't work with you. So again, this pushed them to have to change. They didn't want to change. But Spirit's saying they have all the tools to change. Eventually, they're going to change because I have a hand in this situation. They're not down there to just, be down there. They're to like hook up and compartmentalize relationships. Spirit says, no, everyone's down there to learn to become the best version of themselves. So if they're going to choose to stay drunk or do drugs or do whatever to stay asleep, well, I'm going to make sure that they get sick. It's going to be the end of whatever it is that's not working in this person's life because they were too much in avoidant. And so again, that's why this person is actually seeing that they can help, and they feel like you can actually, that you would be patient. Maybe you wouldn't help them, but you would be patient. And like I said, I feel like they are going to fix it. They're going to fix the way that they were because it's an important connection to them. I think mainly because they're very attracted to you. They don't really know why. It's an important relationship. They just like the chemistry, because that's what they could think about because I didn't see them really give you any time. But for them to continue to think about you, well, sometimes that's all that it is the chemistry. And Spirit says that's all that it needs to get the two people to come together. It's like, and then, over time, the relationship builds. But with the soulmate connection, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. And every time it's off, both parties do a lot of work. We're going to take a peek and see what work you did right after we see how you feel about this person coming back. You're the one for me. We're twin souls, and that's what scares me the most. I'm seeing it all clearly now. I think that's your person, like I said. And this is you. I feel like I miss you no matter what it looks like on the outside. I've become good at hiding my true feelings. So again, you're mirroring this person because you're like, well, I wasn't allowed to be vulnerable either. And, you didn't exactly me feel welcome and warm. So I feel like, again, this person is realizing who you are and they don't want to lose this connection, even though they did a lot. And I think if it's a real soulmate twin flame connection, a lot of times we say, no, I'm not going to take that person back. But a lot of times we just can't help it. We just can't help it. So we say, why did you attract this person into your life? Because again, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life, what needs healing, because they represent your healing, what needs to be healed. Or they're going to show you a gift that you had hidden, but understand if the gift was hidden, there was a shadow there. And that shadow would need to be healed, obviously. Dance, card number 1. Abandonment, card number 2. You can't see that because it's so dark. Innocence, card number 3. Rebellious, card number 4. Lies and secrecy, 5. And joy, 6. I feel like, again, when you were younger, someone took advantage of your innocence, but that's also a gift because you happen to see things through clear eyes. And clear eyes is that you don't hold judgment of anybody, but it's hurt you before. People have taken advantage of that quality before. And it's because, again, abandonment, obviously, not feeling safe, not feeling loved. It's more falls into the alignment of emotional abuse because, again, anytime you needed somebody to be there for you, they were never there for you. Instead, there were lies and secrets in the house, and that was what was more important. Everyone hid behind the lies and secrets, including you, where your needs were not met. And this happened in your childhood, and it robbed you of your joy as a child. And then when you would try to express who you are, again, it was not a healthy environment, so you were seen as rebellious, even though I don't think that you were rebellious. I feel as if the environment didn't let you become who you needed to become, because again, what was more important was everyone needed to play a role, and that happens in very dysfunctional homes. Like if you came from an alcoholic family, the drinker, it was never the drinker's fault, or people knew that the drinker, like there was problems because of the drinking. However, it was everybody needed to be codependent to fix what was going on in the house, to hide what was going on in the house. And that meant you weren't creating yourself. It was robbing you of your joy. Because again, if you didn't do it, there were consequences. And dance, I always say dance. Sorry, it's a green card, but I'm telling you it's dance because the girls hula dancing. And so what it is it's like when dancing to me is to go with the flow. When you're dancing, right? You're free, and there's a sense of feeling the rhythm intuitively, knowing how to move. Well, and couldn't listen to your intuition because you weren't in survival mode. So Spirit said during this time of separation, it was all about you creating your own support. And that was by finding yourself. By finding yourself, and you do that through joy and not being connected to someone where it's again going to be so unfair that you would be living a lie. You would be, this person wanting to keep you a secret, like take you out of the box when they want to play with you. It's like, no, it's like it was good to be rebellious here. It was good to be rebellious, to stand up for yourself. I mean, it might have been seen as rebellious, but you're not being rebellious when you're doing what's best for you. When you're around dysfunctional people, when you do what's best for yourself, it's seen as you're being rebellious, you're being a problem, you're being annoying, you're being, again, something of a negative condensation when really you weren't. And this relationship, I feel like the innocence of it got bruised a lot, because soulmate twin flame relationship, there was a part of you that, like it's such a deep connection. There's so much chemistry. There's so much, because you've been with this person for many, many lifetimes. They've agreed to meet you again in this lifetime to help you heal, to dive deep within inside of yourself. And we don't volunteer to do that. It's very scary to do that. And again, why do we want to revisit our pain? No one wants to do that. But Spirit's saying that's what the soulmate twin flame does. It makes you dive deep within inside of yourself to dig up all that is blocking you, that is no longer there to help you, to support you. There, a lot of times, when you grow up in a environment that, like I said, you had to hide behind the secrets where you couldn't create yourself, well, now you have a lot of blockages because you don't know who you are, because you didn't invest enough in yourself to figure out who you are. And when you live in survival mode, well, you're not tired, you feel lethargic a lot of times, because again, living in survival mode, your nervous system is on overdrive. You get overstimulated. So again, this person gets overstimulated. We see how, again, some of your behaviorisms can again mirror this person's behaviorisms. And what Spirit says is, well, when you grow up in an environment that you had to form so many survival mechanisms, what happens is that you don't need those survival mechanisms to go out into the everyday world And they're actually going to prevent you from thriving. They're going to prevent you from forming the intimate connections that you need to establish in order to feel supported, to feel loved, to feel rooted and grounded in your community, in your world, actually even in your body, because you're not in your body when you're in survival mode, you're in your head. You're in the logic and linear mind of your head, which is how your person grew up. They grew up learning to strategize to get away or to deal with whatever problems that there were because they were the fixer, they were the savior, where you grew up intuitively, more in the emotional body, which spirit says, so you're very good with people, you connect well. So we see complementary energies, but we also see the blockages due to the fact that you both grew up in an environment where you weren't allowed to really access the other parts of the brain, or it's not that you weren't able to, but you built up those other elements of the brain because you utilized them more. And when we utilize our brain a lot, well, what does the brain do? It's a muscle, it gets bigger. So if we don't utilize certain areas of the brain, they don't grow. And so what Spirit's saying is, due to the environments that you grew up in, that's what happens. So I have to get involved. And I brought you this person, even though they did all that, because you're going to help them, and vice versa. But the whole point is to integrate the self so that you can be abundant, so you can create your heaven on earth, so you can be fully grounded in your body, so that you can be guided by spirit through the gut, intuition, inner knowing, so you can give and receive of love, so you can speak your truth and set appropriate boundaries, so you can see opportunities and be continuously connecting through your claircognizance with the higher self, with the God part of self, with the universe, so that you can live your bliss. And that's what Spirit was saying in the beginning of the reading. But again, that this is a connection to help with that, because there's a reason why we have a soulmate, twin flame. It's not just all about passion. It has a lot of passion because, again, no one would volunteer to deal with it, to deal with someone that's going to trigger you, first of all, held to the no, and then on top of it, to make us look at our own trauma. No, we don't want to do that. We would say, oh, it's forgotten about. We're already living in a new life. We've already created new experiences. And Spirit says, so you're going to leave that piece of shit that the dog shit in the corner over there? You're just going to put like a towel over it because it's still there. You can't just get rid of negative energy just because you're like, oh, it's not there anymore, because now you're doing the same exact thing that the person, your twin flame, is doing. They're avoidant. You're just also avoidant, saying, oh, I just don't realize that they're there. No, those experiences happened. The Spirit says you have to do something with the energy. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. This person, like I said, knows what it is. It's like they've realized that, that they have felt abandoned for so long, and that's why they let people down. I wanted to see whether it would say anything about, but it's like, no, it's just more about what this person feels and what they're learning right now about the situation. So but Spirit is just saying it's like they're using their passion to fight for what they believe in. It's again, and that is like at this point, that's what's guiding them back to you. It's like they believe that this is an important connection, but as far as that, it's going to be a complete faith walk. And I guess that's why Spirit says, no, I won't let you see what will happen in the future because my hand is involved in it. And it will require both parties to tap into their intuition, to not be codependent, to not lose themselves in the connection, but to, again, still continue to be on their path, to create and then to help each other and to help heal each other. And that's what Spirit's saying. It's like, that's what I'm going to do because it's all about these people being on the path to light. Is that Spirit says, I help them make the conscious choice to move forward, the light to the light, one step at a time, to help them transform their weaknesses into strengths by mastering their thoughts, to help them overcome obstacles with positivity and acceptance. I and to develop their gifts and extend their light to every being unconditionally, is what Spirit's saying. No, my hand is in this because they have to change the way that they think. And that's first of all, they didn't realize that they were how they were thinking. Your person, you think fine. Your person, again, affected, but to transform both of your weaknesses because you also have weaknesses. If you're an overgiver, an overdoer, an overlover, over, you know, then Spirit's saying, well, again, that's out of balance. Even if it's like not a mean trait, it's hurting you. So it's going to prevent you, block you from being able to manifest and to really develop your gifts, to understand why you're down here, to be an expression of love so that you can give and receive of love by extending it to every being on the planet so that you could be of service, so you can really feel connected on a heart-based level, not an ego mind. So that's what Spirit's saying. Spirit says this connection is all about helping these two individuals to get back to their original state, which again, everyone's born perfectly, right? Everyone's born with just like with a clear conscience, not having any judgments, not knowing anything bad, just a clean canvas. When you look at a baby is they have no judgment, they're pure. The Spirit saying, I'm again, the twin flame journey helps take all that gunk, which is the spiritual blockages and the behaviors and all of that, and it makes us look at it so that we can be a clear conduit for Spirit to work through so that we can again be on our path to the best version of ourselves, to be the contribution to humanity that Spirit had intended us to be. So that's awesome. And I'm going to leave that there, Scorpio. You let me know how you resonated with this one. This was a kind of a very spiritual one, huh? All right. Well, let me know. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.